We did that tour with Thunderclap, and it was just not great. Shows didn't go real well. I dumped a lot of money into the pressing that LP, and it just kind of like landed with a thud. All the videos, I finally got a non-bootleg version of Premiere Pro to start making better videos. The original Meatwound videos were all done with a bootleg Premiere Pro that I had that was at least 10 years old at the time. We got scented candles, smell great, light it in your house, and pretend the outside world isn't what it is.
And that's what scented candles are for. His band, Meatwound, has performed at Monufest. You may know them from their song Fist of God, and their new album, Macho, is out May 9th. Daniel Wallace of Meatwound, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on.
Pleased to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about the band, this album, everything like that. So just like getting into it, because I started like listening to some of the singles out from this album, which are all pretty sick. Mount Vermin, Frank Stallone, and Europa are the singles. What about like these songs were good good showcases of the album, or like made you guys want to put them out as singles?
I mean, I wanted to lead with Frank Stallone, but I kind of knew it made more sense to open with a song that sounded a little bit more like Meatwound, not just jump straight into some of the less traditional songs. But I think Mount Vermin was probably I think we all agreed it was the catchiest one. And a little bit more, kind of like more of a traditional rock song, sort of.
Yeah.
Or kind of like Meatwound playing something from the first Quicksand record. Sort of. I don't know. We just write whatever, and then I start yelling over it, and at the end we call it Meatwound.
Yeah. Sounds good. I mean, so take me into that whole like process and everything of writing these songs. Are your vocals kind of the last layer added, or what does the creative process of Meatwound look like?
It's I mean they typically write. Very rarely do we change the songs based on any vocal ideas. Every once in a while there'll be something that we say, maybe I'll say, hey, can we do that part maybe 2 more times? But typically the idea is for them to write instrumentals that are interesting enough to us at whatever length they are, so we can just listen to that as an instrumental and feel like that's interesting enough before I put any vocals on it, because that way it seems like the songs don't become too long-winded or overstay their welcome, or say a riff is good enough to hear 8 times. Like, I'm not trying to double that up necessarily, but sometimes there's a part that we all really like and we say, yeah, do it 16 times. But yeah, the vocals are the last thing to go on.
I like that. I like the philosophy of like listening to the instrumental first, because that's probably a great gauge to like keep a song interesting, or know when to switch it up, let it keep going. Like is the instrumental alone interesting enough, and like I guess attention grabbing enough to like be it's a song in its own right, and then add vocals from there. I feel like that's a great method to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, most bands when I just sang in the band, I usually try to put myself in the position like of somebody listening to a song for the first time, or like I'm not like an outsider, an outside perspective. Like, is this song interesting enough to me as it is? Or you're not just like, well, my band wrote it, so I'm just going to put vocals on it. So I try to listen to it as an outside, as objectively as possible. But there's definitely songs where I like them a lot, and I kind of want to hear more of it. And Mount Vermin was like that. I remember thinking when I started getting ready to put vocals on Mount Vermin, I asked the rest of the guys, like, do you have an idea? Do you hear me coming in? Like, do you hear the vocals coming in at a certain place? Do you want to wait, 2 times, 4 times? And I think I might have been the one that said, like, we should let that opening go. We should let it go as long as it did. Like, do 4 full measures of it.
Let it have its moment.
yeah, just like let it sit, and then second time around when it comes back in the book and the second verse, we just do it two times there. Um, but yeah, we try to not get too stuck in formulas, but at the same time, like standard songwriting stuff is standard for a reason because it works. So even
Hmm.
if it's maybe verse chorus bridge type setup, maybe the rhythm is not 4/4 and it's not super predictable.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I
And
think that probably sort of answered the question, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And
I've been
you
in the
know,
car
if
for hours, so I might just run my mouth.
that's totally fine. That's what these longer, podcast formats are for. Just giving as much information as possible.
Yeah, and
So yeah, I feel
you can edit it anyway. Make me
yeah.
sound more concise,
Yeah.
less
And
meandering.
and so for like just a bit more about like the music and everything with this new release because it's been from what I could see it's been like a good amount of time since the last Meatwound release. I was thinking there was like a couple years between this and then like your I forget what it was, but the last release to the collaboration with Thunderclap, I think was the last.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that was the last release.
so
I
so
thought it was
what
Culero, but
so
you're right.
what were these like in between years? Like were you guys working on music the whole time, taking a break? Just like take me into that kind of time off.
Um, I don't know. We didn't really take time off, so we just took a lot of time to
Yeah.
work on the songs. We did the tour towards around the end of 2019 for Culero. Culero came out I think in September or August 2019, and we did that tour with Thunderclap, and it was just not great. Um, like shows didn't go real well. I dumped a lot of money into the pressing that LP, and it
Mm.
just kind of like landed with a thud. Um, so I think we came back from that tour a little bit, uh, kind of look at things and rebuild maybe. And I don't know. We did take a couple. I think we were taking a couple months off. Parted ways with our old drummer like amicably, and then Dimitri came along during COVID. Oh yeah, because COVID happened not too long after that. So
Hmm.
um, COVID slowed us down a little bit, and then I went and worked out in San Francisco for about 6 months. In the second half of 2020, I was out in San Francisco working almost the whole time. So I wasn't, and that was when I started working on new songs with Dimitri. Um, and then ever since then, I've been on the road mostly like for work, like 9 or 10 months out of the year usually. But
Mm.
so they can just write songs and then they'll send me the demos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it took some time. We got teaching Dimitri our new drummer, Dimitri, or not new, but our current drummer,
Yeah.
teaching him the old songs so that we could, kind of get a feel for things and see how he made those sound, maybe like his own. Um, yeah, so we learned, taught him the older songs and then started writing new ones. Like Europa was the first song we wrote with him. So it's been around for at least 4 years now.
Yeah. And so, because you mentioned like traveling most of the year, all like, and then splitting time between like working in your job and also like working on new music with the band. How do you like balance those two or still make time for the band and to work on music?
Well, luckily they can pretty much do everything before sending it to me. So if I'm not in town, it's not it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does make it a little bit harder for me to kind of latch on to new songs sometimes, and like I miss being able to practice every week. Um, and when we have to do shows, I try to get there. I try to be able to get into town, maybe come in for a weekend, like 2 weeks before or a week before the show, just to get a practice in because
Yeah.
my voice sounds like garbage if I haven't been yelling for you know a month or two or three or more at a time. So Like I'll get in there and I'll just like blow my voice out. So I need that first practice to get in there and yell a little bit and break it up and whatnot. So I had to do that, but I had definitely had to do that before we recorded the record. I made sure that I had a couple of weeks off to go to Tampa and just spend time like working on the songs and make sure my voice was uh
In tip-top shape.
properly, yeah, properly trashed.
Yeah.
So, so I could just get on there and ruin the songs,
Yeah.
but not
And
in a bad way, not in the way that we're I don't even have control over my voice, but in like the want it to be exactly the type of nonsense I'm trying to do, the
yeah.
type of trash sounds I'm trying to make.
Are you a music artist looking to get your music on Spotify, Apple Music, and basically every platform? Then you should check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution service. It's what I use to get my music out, and I find it really, really helpful. You can set up all the credits for your songs, put in lyrics and even like times lyrics and things like that, and manage all your releases from one account or one dashboard. It is super helpful, and I don't think I would have gotten started with music as early as I did without DistroKid. So if you're interested in any of their plans, which I'll put on the screen here, and yes, that does say $2 a month for music on all platforms that you need things like that. That's $2 a month. I know some of you spend more on coffee each day than $2 a month to get music wherever you want. But anyways, back to the point. If you use my link in the description, you will get 7% off of any of these plans to make it even cheaper. Plus it has so many cool features to help with your music, like pre-save pages, getting it on Instagram and things like that so people can add your music to posts. It is just super, super helpful, and it's what I've used since starting music. Like I said, use the link in the description, check out DistroKid, and get 7% off of any plan you want. Now, back to the episode. Whether it's the LP pressing, going on tour, I've recently become a lot more enlightened to just like how expensive it is to do live shows and go on tour and things like that, and like how hard it is to really turn a profit or even just like make like break even with some of these more like burdening, I don't know if that's a word, but
Oh, burden.
yeah, burdensome like aspects of music career or things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like how have you kind of gotten through those of whether it's the LP or tour or anything, being like, okay, this didn't work out as well as we'd hoped, but we gotta keep going, we gotta see how we can solve this, anything like that?
Um, well, primarily I just got a job where I made more money so that I could dump more money into Meatwound.
Yeah.
Um, it took a couple years at this job to get to where I made enough money to actually pay back all my debts and everything, some of which was the Culero LP. Um, but now, we can now the other guys make fairly decent money for now. We'll see what happens with, the US economy is uh I don't even no, roller coaster doesn't even do it justice. But
Yeah.
for now we make enough money that we threw in a little bit. Marty and I threw in to make the Macho LP jackets a little bit more ignorant, spicy than they would have been.
Hmm.
To not just do a regular jacket. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Like just paying to make like stickers, make our own stickers, and like not really have to depend on shows to pay for things. I mean, like practice space is a couple $100 a month as it is. So yeah, doing bands aren't it's not cheap unless you live in a place that has basements and you can practice in a basement for free, somebody's house
Yeah.
maybe. But we don't have that in Florida.
Hmm. So, because I'm guessing, like, I want to get into a bit more the like visual side of Macho, I guess, and like you said, this vinyl jacket, even just like the art I've seen from it, the singles it is pretty like
Pink,
colorful, almost like a psychedelic look. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like
very pink.
some of the past releases are a bit more like black, dark, like monotone. What prompted this like shift into a much like brighter aesthetic?
I don't know if it was Marty's idea that I feel like that was the first time I remembered hearing that they wanted to have the record be pink was maybe after we decided we wanted to call it Macho, and then the idea to make the cover pink was, I think that followed the decision to make it. Like we knew the record was being called Macho like years ago.
Mm.
So it was Marty's idea. They kind of want to just have it say Macho in the back, and the rest of the majority of the cover just be pink. But that was kind of as far as the idea went. And then Adi, our guitarist, he sent some pictures into the group chat for the band. One of which was a picture of like one of his broken teeth when he was younger. That ended up being, we ended up using that for the insert.
Okay.
And then one of the other pictures he sent is what I used to put some, chop it up a little bit, mess with the colors and contrast and stuff like that. And that's basically that picture the picture that Adi sent to the band chat is what I used to make the front end, like the LP jacket. That was for that. And then this is the first record that I did all of the art for Meatwound. Well, I did the Trash Apparatus 7-inch. I did the layout for that, but that's just like black and white punk stuff, pretty much.
Yeah.
But for this one, I did the labels. There's a poster that comes with it that we didn't fully reveal yet because it still has it. We could probably reveal it now because the poster has incorporates art from the singles. So we were kind of keeping that under wraps until all the singles came out.
Nice.
And it's like a rip off of a kind of semi-famous like 70s movie poster, which nerds, movie nerds will know when they see it.
Yeah.
So I'm basically did an exact one-to-one reproduction of the poster just with different images.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I laid all that stuff out. Learned a lot of new Photoshop tricks on this one. And the videos, like all the videos, I finally got a non-bootleg version of Premiere Pro to start making better better videos. The original Meatwound videos were all done with a bootleg Premiere Pro that I had that was, I don't know, at least 10 years old at the time. So yeah, we're up to date now. We'll pay Adobe there. Adobe gets their monthly cut, and we get better art, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely need to invest in some better video editing myself. I'm still, I mean, even with bootlegs, you might be better than me. I'm still on the iMovie train, just
Um,
doing whatever I can in there. And there's so many things that like are such a process, so laborious for me. And then like I learn
but it
about a
was time
feature
consuming.
in I learn about a feature in Premiere, and it's like one button for the same effect. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I need to just invest in that, like get it
It's
done.
still time consuming, and you end up just watching tutorials.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, the Premiere, the official versions, you can click on all the stuff, and it'll branch out to tutorials like pretty easily.
nice.
But
Yeah,
it's
that's
also,
awesome.
it's like Pro Tools. It does so much stuff that you could spend months and months just going through all the settings and trying different stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so with even I guess I mean it maybe kind of a logo or just like the icon, this design of like this Go character, this Go image that's on a lot of the Meat Wound branding stuff. What's the story behind that like
But you
image?
mean the goat from the last record?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Oh,
go just like yeah, like from what I've seen is on Culero and everything.
oh, that was no, no, that was an idea I had. I think I didn't realize that I don't think I realized at the time that I commissioned that art that it
Mm.
was that I was the image in my head was from Altered States, the movie Altered States, which I just hadn't watched it too recently at the time. And then later, as time went on, I was like, that's why I kept thinking about that goat with all the eyes. Like, if because of Altered States, I just forgotten that's where it was from. Because we were on tour and we went to the Guar Bar in Richmond, and they had like a head. They had basically that same um, head on the wall, And I was like, shit, that's where I got that from. But I just wanted to I had that idea, and then I commissioned Vincent Locke to do it. Um, he's done all the Cannibal Corpse art for since the beginning. But
Awesome.
I remember following him when he was doing Dead World comics when I was still in middle school. Like I had to get my mom
Yeah.
to buy them for me. So he's a super nice dude. His prices are reasonable. I'm surprised more bands don't hit him up unless they maybe just don't want to.
Don't know about
They,
him
they well
even.
they don't think that he'll do art because he does because he's so well known from Cannibal
Yeah.
Corpse. But yeah, I just emailed him and
It's great that
commissioned
he's
it.
open to it. Yeah, and respect him to like not like be working with Cannibal Corpse and do that and like still be open to helping out any bands like willing to match whatever his prices are.
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, his prices are reasonable. Like he'll ask like how many copies you're gonna make, and if it's like if I think if it was he's super cool because he asks questions like if you're on a label and if you're on like a bigger label that maybe has like a budget, like an art budget, then I think he'll price it accordingly. But if it's just like a DIY band like ours, especially Culero, like I put the record out myself, so I think he priced it down. And even for the t-shirt designs, he basically kind of asked like do you how many do you think you're going to print? And then he kind of prices it, and then to me it's I don't mind spending money on stuff like that to get something that looks cool,
Yeah.
better than a lot of seen other bands' art. And it's a lot of times I don't know. Bands are like maybe they're good musicians or they're good songwriters. It's children, but
But the art just isn't there.
but yeah, but visually they either don't care or maybe they see some stuff that they think looks good, but it's like y'all look at that shit sucks. Don't use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
And
it's like it's good enough, but like I don't know, man. Why don't you all pool your money and try to get a better artist?
bring it to
Try to
that next step. Yeah. Or that
yeah, like
next level.
or just go simple and just do like we did, do it in house.
Yeah.
Just put some high contrast stuff on a picture and put some text over it and call it a day. Pay
Yeah.
nobody. Pay
That's
myself.
the best.
In fact, no, yeah, we didn't pay anybody. It's just I pay Adobe.
Yeah.
I pay Adobe for the privilege of using their programs monthly.
Hey heroes, sorry to interrupt that podcast episode, which I hope you are enjoying, but I wanted to tell you about my clothing line, Quest Clothing. Ever since I started really pursuing YouTube and music and all these creative things that I do, I've dreamed about starting this clothing line specifically. I had the name, I had the idea like for years before I started it, and now it's finally here. You can wear clothes like this. I have sweatshirts available, t-shirts, even clothing for like my music with cover arts and lyrics and things like that. It's all super, super cool. And right now is the best way for you guys to support me across everything I do. So be sure to check out the Quest Clothing web store with the link in the description and follow at Shop Quest Clothing on Instagram for updates about collections, discounts, things like that. Anyways, I don't want this self-sponsorship to take too long, so let's get back to the episode. The band as a whole, the name Meatwound, where does that come from or what's the story behind it?
I believe it. I think that came from I don't know. I had a bunch of ideas one day. I started writing down like song titles and band names and stuff all on a sheet of paper. Oh, and and then I transferred all that stuff to like a Word doc. Uh, now back in like 2008 or 2009, and I think Meat Wound was on there. So I think it was. I don't know. Every once in a while, like when I'm ideas, I'm pull that back out, get like some song titles off of there.
Yeah,
Probably tap for band names. I don't think I have any more band names than me. But
that's
yeah,
all
I mean,
right.
does it. It's
Well, yeah,
at,
yeah.
at
Hopefully
this
you're,
point, I think band names are the most important part of a band name. Is that when you Google it, it's the first thing that shows up, which you can always get around that by just like adding an extra vowel or consonant or something like that. But I mean, it's kind of lazy.
yeah. But it's also
But
like now, in this world and this time is something you got to keep in mind. Like how searchable is it really like it whenever you're
Yeah, for
coming up
sure.
with a band name and everything?
Yeah, if you Google Meatwound, it comes up
Yeah.
real quick. So that's it.
Yeah, I'm like even like for me it's not the best results because I'm still absolutely like pretty small level at low scale, but like when you look up heroic spelled the way I spell it, like it's mostly my things, my results that come up, but like I'm sure if I just went with like the normal spelling of like the word heroic, you would never find me because you got probably like definitions, probably all these other things before it. So even just like slight changes or swapping letters can really help.
Well, the question for you: have you seen? Speaking of heroic, have you seen the movie, the Heroic Trio?
I have not, no.
You should. It'll be, and then it'll change your life a little bit.
I'll make a note of it. I'll
The
make sure to watch
90s,
it.
yeah, like 90s Hong Kong movie. Michelle Yeoh's in it. Maggie Cheung.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Johnny Toe movie. It's good.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind and then I'll let you know if I end up watching it or when.
Two. There's two. There's Heroic Trio and Executioners.
Got it. And so just like back to the band playing live, really, what was the first like Meat Wound show like?
Oh, oh, I still drank back then. I don't know if I remember. I think it might have been at Addie's house. We referred to as the Mud House, um,
Hmm.
in Ybor City. I think it was there. Oh no, I think actually maybe the first show. Shit, I think the first show might have been the one with playing with High on Fire. I think. No,
That's
it might
also
be
fine
playing a
if
show
you
with High
don't
on Fire in
remember if you
2015.
don't
I think
remember
that was one of the
exactly,
first
that's
ones.
fine. Yeah.
It seems like a bad idea to do your first show with High on Fire, considering what could go wrong. Oh, which yeah, and we did that show and like the we played the first song out. He broke a string, and it took him like that was before he had two guitars, and it took him a long time to change that string. So I had to just talk, which obviously I can do. I just run my mouth, but
Yeah.
I had to kind of do it on the spot, and it took him a couple minutes to change the string. So I'm just up there having to do a stand up routine. But that was when High on Fire had the Richard Pryor shirts, and I think I just went on a tangent about like JoJo Dancer and Richard Pryor catching himself on fire, smoking crack and stuff like that. And High on Fire had
Yeah.
the shirts. But yeah, yeah, I think that was the first show.
Yeah, nice. And then just like going up from there, everything, what was it like to get to play Monufest with as a band?
That was cool. I didn't think yeah, 'cause I think it was supposed to be last year, and then the hurricane kind of messed everything up. So they put it down to one day. I don't know those guys. Really, I think the other guys are a little bit. I think know them a little bit better. Um, like I just met them at the fest that day actually, but they seem cool. They're really supportive of the Florida scene. We put a lot of different kind of different stuff out across different age groups and styles. So I'm always down to support like Florida labels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I was talking to I forget who it was, but some other band or artist about this that I love like any local themed music thing, whether that's like a concert series, a label, whatever it is. I love like bringing up the local scene, whether it's someone's hometown, just a big music city, whatever it is. I feel like it's really awesome, like building the community within a town or a city, um,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
even a state. Yeah,
people like to associate with groups.
yeah,
Everybody it's it's less lonely. I think you kind of big up your city or your state, your zip code, country, whatever it is. But I mean, there's something that makes sense to that. The sense of community is understandable.
yeah,
The tr wanting to find your community is understandable. And it's how the whole punk stuff kind of began for most of us. Is just feeling like, damn, like I don't want to play sports, or I'm not smart enough to hang out with the nerds, or I'm like the dumb kind of nerd that's into like nerd. I'm nerdy about stuff, but I'm not really smart.
yeah.
or I just want to skateboard, get called names and people drive by and throw stuff at you. And you kind of all of this, of course, you end up in the punk scene.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that whole like misfit vibe, kind of like the Outcast vibe.
Yeah, and then as time goes on, like some of those bands end up breaking out and getting big, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
these shows are massive. It's like, I guess we're all outsiders now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's awesome. And so whether it's Monufest, this first show on Ace House, or anything in between, do you just have like a favorite show you've done or one that really sticks in your mind?
There was a show that we played in Orlando a few years back where we I think we just been practicing a lot, like writing a lot, and really had all locked in with the four of us, and like played a set that was like super tight, and we played like we just the idea was to just start the set and just go through and like have like as little break as possible. We'll always do like always try to do like a group of three songs and then like a short break, three more songs, short break, and maybe like two. But that show in Orlando, we really just like just burned through the songs, and everyone like nobody, because something will like always go wrong. Like somebody drops, the drummer drops a stick, or like break a string on the guitar, or I'll do the wrong verse for usually in song Pigs. Sometimes I'll start the third verse where the second one is and kind of throw things off. But that night in Orlando, like nobody messed anything up, and we just played everything correctly with almost no breaks. And yeah, the crowd reaction was really awesome. And I was like, damn, this is like being in a good band. We should do this all the time. But it's
Yeah.
easier said than done. Like you can't really, say like you're playing and one of the drum mics loose or any number of things, like a pedal gets unplugged. Like it's hard to play. You can't guarantee a perfect show. You try to just,
Yeah, you
you just
can.
practice. You just practice and hope for the best.
And then,
But yeah,
yeah,
that
and
show in Orlando still stands out to me.
yeah, that's awesome that you got what was really, I mean, whether it was perfect, near perfect, anything like a really great show like that. One my favorite band, 21 Pilots, has this saying, like someone asked them in an interview once, they were like, when are you do you ever see yourselves like stopping touring at one point, or retiring in any sense? And they were like, well, every night we try to plan as best we can for live shows and tours and whatnot, and every night something goes wrong. Some lighting cue is missed. The
Yeah, something
drummer
always goes wrong.
loses a stick or something, and they were like the one night where we like get off stage and we were like that was perfect. Nothing happened. That's when they can like feel satisfied and retire.
Well, I think that the Monufest set was actually pretty one of our better sets as far as nobody really messing up. It's like it's a little bit harder now because we don't practice. I can't practice with them every week, so
Yeah.
it's but we've also been playing together. The three, Adi and Marty and I have been playing together since the beginning. It's always been three of us. So like we're generally pretty tight. As long as I can hear the drum line.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the Monument Fest set was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. And so just in terms of like maybe if there's someone listening trying to start a band or trying to get their first couple live shows going, what tips or advice would you give to other bands just like now starting trying to kickstart their career?
Don't try to directly rip off other bands, especially like one band. Like don't try to just please don't just make a another band that rips off exactly one other band. And also just get rid of the bad parts. Like if you write some parts and they're not very good, like don't use those. You don't have to use them just because you wrote
Hmm.
them. You don't have to use them. Like don't use them.
Yeah.
Get rid of the bad parts. Yeah, don't stop trying to directly rip off other bands and sound exactly like another band and get rid of your bad parts. That's my advice.
Nice. Yeah. So for you guys, like if you're trying not to rip off other bands or anything like in general, how do you balance like inspiration versus imitation, that whole uh difference? Or do you take inspiration when you're trying to come up with songs or do vocals? Or do you like thinking of some of the artists and bands you looked up to, or is it very like authentic and original to you?
No, I mean, everybody borrows from other people.
Yeah.
Just you don't want you don't want you don't want you don't want your band to sound entirely like another band. You can
Yeah.
sound like say 4 or 5 different bands all together. That's that's more acceptable.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
like take a big part of like one thing that one band does and then something else that another band does, or just maybe one song sounds sort of like this band, but then the next song doesn't. Or your bass sounds like kind of like this band, but the guitar doesn't sound like that. Or like it would sound like this kind of band, but their rhythms are it's like some you know calypso beats.
Yeah.
Just spice it up, stir the pot.
Yeah. And it is interesting. Like, I think maybe to like 90 to 99% of people and bands and whatnot, like if you're just inspired by whoever you like listening to your own style, that is gonna kind of be original in its own right. Like it's unless you're like, I don't know anyone like this, but unless you enjoy like only one band and it's like a big popular band and no other music, like I feel like you can't find someone with the exact same music taste as you or like the same band's fandom as you. So like you kind of inherently have this original musical inspiration and musical taste in you. Um,
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to rip off other bands. I mean, especially like
yeah.
say if you're how many disclone bands have there been? There's so many, but some of them are pretty sick. I'll still listen to like all the Dysphere records, honestly.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I mean, that's a choice. Like that's what you're in that mood. You crave that. Maybe there's only so many Discharge records, and you want some other Discharge records. Well, now there's like a whole army of other ones that you can choose from. You never have to run out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And then if there's someone who hasn't heard you guys before, hasn't heard of like what song, whether it's a single from Macho or waiting until Macho is fully out, which I think should be just soon after this podcast comes out. What's like a good song to get into Meatwound or like an introduction to, hey, this is the kind of music we make.
Honestly, the first song on Macho called "Compressed Hell," I really like that one. I think that's a pretty good intro. Mount Vermin's a good intro, also.
Hmm.
Actually, the first 3 songs on Macho, kind of like 1, 2, 3, all in a row. Pretty, they cover different ground, but the A side of Macho is probably my favorite stuff we've done. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
so all those songs.
Yeah, and if you're taking that listen, just might as well finish the album. Listen to the rest of
Yeah,
Macho. Yeah, that's awesome. And then in terms of just like some more, I guess, hypothetical questions, some career goal questions. Like, I mean, let's start with that. What like level would you want Meat Wound to reach, or like what's kind of your like ultimate goal with the band?
um, I don't know, just want to keep writing songs and putting out records. Hopefully, people are into them. Obviously, I don't care as much about playing shows as I do. Like I writing and recording songs is really what I like the most. But with playing shows, obviously, it's more exciting when there's people at the shows,
Yeah.
especially there's a lot of people. But there's kind of like a sweet spot because you start playing like when you get on the shows at like venues that are a certain size, that's where they start sounding bad again. So it's like you start really small, like with a weak PA, and the shows probably don't sound too good. But then there's like a spectrum, like mid-sized venues and stuff like that, the record stores and whatnot, that like probably sound pretty decent. And then you get to where you're playing to like you get to the venues where there's like a 800 and up kind of cap, and that's when you start getting that crappy front of house sound. And sometimes it's not always bad, but yeah, you might be like we're getting that good sweet spot where you're playing to like 300 to 700 people. Those are pretty good.
Nice. Yeah.
We're
And
not there.
then that's all right. That's all right. And hopefully this album, the future of the band helps get there, you know? Um, but for like a bit more kind of hypothetical questions, if you got this chance to have like any collaboration with a band or any artist in the world, who would you want Meatwound to make a song with?
Oh, Mel Banana, of course. The answer for that is always Mel Banana. For
Nice.
me, for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Is
Honestly,
there
probably for Adi too.
hmm
Marty, I'm
what's
not
like
not so sure
was
about the
like
other guys.
the reasoning behind that? You think the sound would be good? Look up like just what tell me what you think that collaboration would look like.
I've been listening to Mel Banana since I don't know, like the late '90s, mid I don't know, '96, '97, I think.
Yeah.
And I love them. Played shows with them numerous times. They're always
Awesome.
they're super nice. They're the sweetest people. That record, the the record before the last one, the record Fetch is so good. It's like it's easily one of my favorite records. I was stoked to the band like 20 something years in, put that record out, and it was incredible. Still one of my favorite records to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do anything with them. Tour with them, split record, do a collab song, whatever. I know I'm not the only one. They definitely have their legion of fans. I know a lot of people that love them a lot, and I understand why. So do I.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great that you already kind of have that in with doing shows with them and everything. Like it's definitely a possibility. And I mean, I guess we kind of got into it a little bit already with you kind of talking about like the venue sizes and everything, but is there like a bucket list of venues or festivals that you want to play one day as Meat Moon?
Mm, not necessarily. I just like to play, you know, bigger shows with bands that we like, different kinds of shows. I like.
Hmm.
We all listen to a lot of different stuff, and that's why Meat Wound sounds like it does. But we have over the years we played shows like we played shows like played a house show just like all it was all noise. It was like the other two acts, the other two people were noise artists, and then it was us. And then we played a show in Tampa with death metal bands. We played with Gruesome, which was awesome. Um, we played punk shows, noise rock shows, metal shows. We played with Author and Punisher. It's awesome. Um, I mean that's one of the things I do like about Meatwood because we can something about some part of the band will overlap with a lot of different stuff, so we can play some of these different types of shows, and something about it makes sense. But it's
Yeah.
also it's not sounding exactly like the other bands either.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. And then the last question I have for you here, and no pressure to have an answer because it's definitely tough. But do you have a favorite Meat Wound song? Whether that's just listening to it, the process that went into making it, like, and you can have multiple answers also. Like, just what are some of your favorite Meat Wound songs?
Um, I'd say Frank Stallone is probably my favorite one currently.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of them that I like, but I think Frank Stallone. Um, we finished recording that thing, or when I finished doing the vocals in this booth, I was like, "Oh, I think we made something.
I
I don't
think
know
there's something
what,
here.
but I like it
Yeah.
because
And that's
you have
what
to.
really matters at the end of the day. Like whatever of how good, bad you think it is, whatever. If you like it, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, because there's when you're learning how to like when you're learning how to play instruments or like make like write songs and all that kind of stuff. You There's times where it's like you can hear stuff in your head, but you don't necessarily have the skill to play it, maybe, or like you want to write something in this style, but you just don't have the ability yet. Um, so like at this point now, especially with it's like we've been playing as a band together for like 10 years now, um,
Hmm.
and Marty and I have been playing in bands for you know, well over half our lives. Adi didn't start playing until he was a little bit older, but you know, he's been now it's been a long time for him as well now. But I feel like now we're kind of at a point where we can make stuff that we like. It's like keep making, you know, we'll keep just writing stuff that we like, and if other people like it, cool. We hope other people like it, but yeah, Frank Stallone was definitely. I was like, I don't know, man. If we never write any other songs, like at least we wrote that one. I
Yeah.
like it.
Awesome.
Remind me,
Awesome.
I haven't finished editing that video, but yeah,
On Premiere Pro, which you're paying Adobe for.
correct. Yes, thank you, Adobe.
Yeah. Way to bring it full circle. Awesome. Well, thank you, Daniel, so much for coming on. Those were all
Mhm.
the questions I had, but I loved learning about more about the band, the history, you know, and this upcoming album, Macho, and out May 9th. I can't wait to hear the full thing. Anything you want to shout out or promote for the band, feel free to do that now.
Now, as the record release show is May 10th in Tampa, and we're also playing the Reversal of Man reunion. I believe that's August 30th in Tampa. It's their first show in like 25 years, which is pretty exciting. Um, yeah. Other than that, we got scented candles. Smell great. Just light it in your house and pretend the outside world isn't what it is. But yes, definitely.
And that's what sending candles are for.
Yeah, we're gonna maybe talk about making another one for like Halloween times. You know, get a different scent for a different season type thing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We're just, you know, just trying to help people, you know, have a better life.
Yeah. That's great. I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see whatever scented candles come down the road and anything. But
But we
thank
got
you
some
again
more
so
coming.
much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.